Well, after a very long break, here we are with Fireside Chat number 29.
Yes, 29. What do we do in these things? It's been so long since we've...
Well, it was March when we last did it, and we were talking about what was coming up in Tricks in the Sticks. And unbelievably, we're filming this in the middle of August.
It's like 5 months since we've done one of these.
Exactly.
Wow.
And in fact, this is the first time I've seen John for 3 months since Tricks actually finished. 3 months have gone by already.
Been busy.
Well, we've been very busy. We, of course, are hugely busy dealers, sending out stuff to the four corners of the globe.
I've been jet-setting
You've
all
been
over
doing
the place.
Parties, haven't you?
Parties, Vent Haven.
John, a little known fact about John, he's been doing a lot of these Frozen parties, dressing up as Elsa. Was that for the parties or was that for your own pleasure? I never quite understood.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, okay.
Fine.
So
don't get much work.
No.
But I've been to Vent Haven. I went over to Vent Haven in Kentucky. I met some great people, had a great time. So yeah, and we've finally, the diaries, we're able to meet up again and do another Fireside Chat. So it's a retrospective.
It's a retrospective on Tricks 2015 with a little nod towards Tricks 2016.
Yeah, it seemed to go rather well.
Well, people seem to like it very much, and certainly 2016 sold out in a record 2 hours, which would suggest that we're doing something right.
We broke the internet.
The internet did actually go down with the pressure of people wanting.
I must admit, I was going on the website just to see if the numbers were dropping down, see if we were selling any tickets, and it was kept saying no, can't get through. So it must have been very frustrating for anybody trying to get through that morning. So if you persevered and got through and got your tickets, well done, first of all, and thank you for persevering.
Thank you for your support. One of the very first things that happened at Tricks 2015, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about this because it was mainly John's baby, was Children's Entertainer Syndrome. This was a film that virtually kicked off the convention.
Can we show a clip of this?
Yeah, I think we ought to.
We'll have a little clip and then we'll come back.
Clip.
Please donate now. Just £6,000 will buy an animatronic puppet that will sit in its case and never see the light of day. Just £1,000 will buy a confidence-boosting backdrop. Even a donation as small as £500 can provide glowing testimonials for a sufferer like Gary for an entire year.
No, it's not a sexual thing at all. I just like the feel. I feel more me. And anyway, I'm lucky to have a very understanding wife.
Make it go away now.
Together we can beat CES.
So there we are. There was a clip from those poor people suffering from Children's Entertainer Syndrome, and I think that nearly everybody was agreed that this was one of the funniest things at the convention, and that is thanks to John, because
well, not just thanks to me, there's so many people involved in that. I've got to thank, you may have noticed in the video, Gary Dunn, Wyn Jones, Jason Naira. No, Jason was in it. I'm going to forget somebody if I'm not careful. Celine was in there. And these, and who else came down? We had Martin Duffy and Andrew. Yeah, they all came down. We actually went down to Centre Parks and we filmed those things in Centre Parks. We had a little holiday together just to film segments for that, and everybody came at their own expense, so thank you so much to everybody for coming and doing that for us, and for having a laugh and helping to make Tricks what it is, and thanks to people for sending in the photographs without any knowledge of how I was going to use them,
how they were going to be abused.
So
but there's a serious point I want to make, and that when some of you watch a film like CES, just try and think how much actual work has gone into that, because apart from the people and the initial filming, John has actually, for the most part, written a script, and then comes the editing, and there is a vast amount of editing. So I just want to say a very personal, not on behalf of Cheryl and myself, a very personal thank you to John, because there is a huge amount. When you see something which is well done, you tend to almost let it gloss over because you just think, well, it doesn't look too difficult. That's the art of doing something well, and that's what John does very, very well. The editing was absolutely outstanding.
But yeah, it's very much a team effort. And I forgot Jamie, little Jamie. Jenny
Yeah, but that's
Maitland,
fair enough,
who
isn't
came
it?
along. Yeah, no, he was there as well in there, and it was a great team effort. And we all got together, and we it's nice when it all comes together like that. We've been kicking that idea around for like that was planned for the first ever convention, and it's taken 3 years before we actually got round to doing it.
Well, it's nice to have too much material.
And there's so much more that we've cut out still. Every year we say, is it time to do that one yet? And one day we'll get round to it all.
Well, so that's what kicked off 2015, and then John and I did the Fireside Chat, a live Fireside Chat, and that was followed by the Cabaret. And I have to pay tribute, and John will as well, to Billy Bow, Steve Doe.
Oh, Steve.
Who
Yeah.
volunteered. He said, well, I could do something with bubbles. And I said, well, you know, what have you got in mind? He said, well, I do this whole thing with bubbles. And so I said, yeah, okay. Well,
He'd been hiding his light under a bush a little bit.
well, he
hadn't
most certainly has. Because I think
Wow.
we're going to do it. Unfortunately, we haven't got footage of this, but we have got some stills. So as I'm talking, we're going to just punctuate.
It might be a little bit of footage. We had camera problems, and I'm really sorry about that. So I haven't got footage of everything that took place. It was difficult to film everything and be operating lights and running backwards and forwards at the same time. Camera got jolted and things got turned off.
And next year you're going to be lecturing as well.
And yeah, so that's going to be even more fun to try and fit all that in. So
But
yeah,
dragging it back to Steve, he did an absolutely astonishing
incredible.
act. And then the lights were taken down, and he had this table and this huge bubble, and all the colours of the spectrum coming through. And I hope that is shown in the stills that we're showing to you now. But it was quite awe-inspiring. I think everybody was absolutely
It was a great
entranced.
bubble act. I've seen bubble acts before, but that was the best one I've ever seen. So
I mean, the Cabaret was really, really strong, and we're going to be talking about people individually. If we talk about every single thing that happened at Tricks, then we're going to be here all night. So inevitably, we're going to have to move on a little
so we'll
bit.
gloss over a few things. But Mike and Mel.
Well, Mike and Mel, and also Buster, we have these three colossi, if I can call it that, and all in their individual ways contributed enormously. And if we just talk about Mel to begin with, Mel used to be a children's entertainer, which is why we asked him to
A lot of
come
people
along and
didn't
do
know
this.
that as well, so it was news to a lot of people.
And I said to Mel, you know, we don't want your very, very funny cabaret, not cabaret, your stand-up act. We do want the children to, oh yes, no problem at all. Well, I think everybody would agree that Mel delivered in spadefuls.
We're talking about the lecture now. He didn't do the children's act for the cabaret. Yeah.
And of course, as they popped, you got your laugh. Well, let's see if we can blow one towards the curtains.
And he was just astonishingly funny, but he also made some really
Do you know,
intelligent points.
one of the best things I got from the whole convention was the little bit of business with the balloon stuck to your finger.
The children's shows, one of my all-time favourites. Went all Terry over then. Oh look. It's okay, no.
If you can come away with one little bit of business like that forms part of your show, and I do callbacks to it later on. It happens later on in the show when I finally got rid of it. It comes back again, and it's back on there again at the end. And it's
But I think Mel's lecture was full of that.
yeah, there were so many little bits of business that,
And there
that
were
you could use.
gales of laughter.
Let's try it on the
throughout.
curtains.
There were gales of laughter throughout, and this is going to be a theme of what we're talking about at the end. Not surprisingly, there's a standing.
Well, we're going to have to call this the Standing Ovation Convention because it was just about.
Call it what? That's easy for you to say.
The Standing Ovation Convention. Well, that's what I want to call it, and I think that's right. It's the Standing Ovation Convention because everything seemed to result in people leaping to their feet and not running to the bar.
Well, Mel certainly, as I say, delivered in absolute spadefuls, and one of the nice things was that I had a very pleasant email from him later saying, "Where's my money?" No, it wasn't. He said, "This has to be the most enjoyable convention I've ever been to." And that now brings us on to Mike Bent, funny man from Boston, whose unenviable task it was to do two entirely different lectures.
Yeah, it was great in the Cabaret the night before, and two absolutely amazing lectures. Brought the house down.
And talking to John earlier today, I said that with people like Buster and Mel and Mike, they're like, and I mean this in a really complimentary way, they're like clockwork toys. You just wind them up at the back and say, there's the stage, go and perform for exactly 1 hour and then come off. And that's exactly what they do. And there's no ifs, no buts, no complaints, no oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. They get on with it, they're utterly professional, and they really deliver as well. And that is true of all three of them. Anyway, we were just about to talk about Mike, but Mike was another one who...
Again, so many highlights. The Snake Can, I think, was a big, huge hit of the convention.
Absolutely.
And I mean, what an idea, a snake can without a snake in it. You know, it's straight away, as soon as you hear it, it's an interesting idea. And to take
it's typical of Mike's thinking.
And build an entire routine around this snake can not having a snake in it. And of course, there is a surprise ending, and I'm not going to give it away, but you've probably guessed what it is. There is a snake at the end. But it manages to make something that's such a well-known novelty a surprise again. Yeah.
They say, here is a tin of nuts. Oh, look, a snake.
Well, yeah, every kid is expecting a snake to come out of that, and Mike takes that all away from them, pulls the rug from underneath them, and then gets them with the same joke that they've been anticipating all the way through, just when they least expect it. And that's the genius of that routine, because it builds and builds and builds, and then it ends with this amazing finale.
His lecture was full of really good working material, absolutely outstanding. However, he then had to come on in the evening
and close the convention pretty much, yeah,
and deliver something entirely different. And if I say that he eclipsed his first efforts with his second lecture, because I think a lot of people would say that the lecture that he did on comedy writing at the end...
Yeah, and it's a tough sell to children's entertainers,
very much
that
so.
Kind of thing, because there's no tricks. To come out and just do a lecture on how to write original comedy with no tricks, no props, no toys to play with, to a group of kids entertainers, it's a tough sell, but it was inspirational, and again, the crowd were on the feet at the end of the lecture, and thank Mike in the way it has become a customary tricks.
I think another lovely thing about these three people that we're talking about, Buster, Mike and Mel, is they were all utterly approachable throughout the whole convention.
Oh, definitely,
People
yes.
were going up and asking them things, and they were so free of their time and their genius. I think that was really, really appreciated by everybody. And talking of genius, how could we forget Buster?
Again, and after to come and try and be able to top last year's
when he got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And this was a really different lecture. I mean, Buster was on the Cabaret on the first evening and did brilliantly as well. But then he did this really slow-burning lecture, and you began to think at the beginning, I certainly did, I just wonder where this is leading. And as the hour went on, the pace built up, and so did the interest, until you were quite astonished with what he achieved and what he imparted by the end
and again,
of the...
so inspirational. Encouraging balloon workers not to be this balloon factory, and showing you how to bring a unique experience to an audience, and something
how to make
it meaningful to an audience of children. And yeah, exactly. And it's just so inspirational. I think a lot of people went away with a mind to changing their acts and what they do, and and that's what you want from a lecture, really. You get to cause you to rethink.
Well,
the way you
speaking
do
of
things.
which, and just backtracking slightly, I can remember you saying that you saw Mike a few years ago, and it completely revolutionised the way you wanted to do your show.
Yeah.
You know, so it's wonderful to have these inspirational lecturers, and we thought that this year we had an exceptional crop. Well, on the subject of thank yous, because I say we can't name everybody, but we would like to thank the dealers, the people who did the power presentations.
So that's Joanne,
Burger Bill, Pat,
Danny
Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to all of them.
It all makes the convention what it is.
Thank you to all of those performers on the Breakaway One show who are prepared to face ridicule, to suffer embarrassment, humiliation.
Oh, we've not talked about the Breakaway One show.
Well,
it's well, it is. A lot of people say it's their favourite part of the first night. It's always a shambles. It's always put together very last minute. It's surprise. I mean, it seemed a bit slicker this year for some reason, but it's
heaven knows why.
But it's all cobbled together quite last minute because we try and be topical and but it's always a lot of fun. And I'm to Nick Nolan, I'm really sorry. But everybody seems to take it in the spirit it's intended. So that's nice. So
we're drawing to the end now. And I just want to wrap up what we're saying before we show the film of the 2006 announcement. And what I say is very heartfelt, and I'm speaking on behalf of Cheryl, who can't be with us at the moment because she's cooking our supper. And
sexism alert.
No, it's just that she's far better at it than we are. Anyway, I want to give a very heartfelt thank you to John, because I think the marriage of humour between Cheryl and John and myself is very important, and we all love what we create as an end product. But I'm under no illusion that Tricks would be an entirely different. And John doesn't know that I was going to say this.
No, I didn't. I'm embarrassed.
Tricks would be an entirely different convention without John's enormous input, and it isn't an input just on the evening or on the day or on the 2 days. It is for months and months and months beforehand in coming up with some of the comic ideas and then realising them. So,
but it's something you enjoy, isn't it? It's nice to be part of something, and
well, it is hugely enjoyable, but it's a lot of work as well. And I don't want anybody to run away with the thought that there is no work involved. There's a huge amount of work, and a lot of that falls on John's shoulders.
A lot of people do ask me, what they can do, if they can be in the Breakaway One show, and the answer is always yes. But just tell me what you can do. If you've got a sketch you've written or an idea, then just tell me, and we'll see what we can do, and we'll do it. There's no secret club to get into it or anything. We had Burger Bill. We got to mention Burger Bill on the Breakaway One show. Was that the first standing ovation of the convention?
Yes, Burger Bill and his ukulele.
Burger Bill's absolute star.
Oh, and also during the course of the convention, I think most of the conventioneers had a tour of Burger Bill's caravan.
Oh yes.
So
it even got Tricks and the Sticks branding on his caravan.
So good on
Burger
you.
Bill on tour.
Good on you, Bill.
So big shout out to Burger Bill.
So there we are. We're going to draw a veil over things now. I will just say in conclusion that I relax actually, and so does Cheryl at Tricks, because of the team that we have working, which makes it a very enjoyable convention. As far as I'm concerned, as far as Cheryl is concerned.
Well, since Jeremy doesn't, I'm going to say this. One of the great things that Jeremy does at the convention is that he does trust people to just get on and do their job. He just finds people who are good at what they do and then just says, run with it, which a lot of people would be interfering at every stage and wanted to see it. Some of the videos Jeremy didn't even see till the day. He says, don't show them to me, so because he wanted to watch them for the first time. So
I didn't say don't show them, I didn't know they existed.
Well, yeah, well, that's how I interpret it.
So we're going to close this now. We're going to close Fireside Chat 29 with a glimpse of the announcement of 2016 as it was made, and we're hoping to intersperse that with some
of the shots of the people in the room, so you might spot yourself in there. So those of you who are picking your nose at the picture, I'm really sorry. You know who you are.
And if you don't, everybody else is going to know who you are.
See if you can spot them.
So there we are. Farewell to Fireside Chat 29, and we'll see you at Tricks 2016.
And if you, somebody's ringing to book now.
Too late because I'm afraid
Get on the
it's
waiting
sold out.
list. If it's sold out, but get on the waiting list, and we'll see what we can do.
Bye.
Bye. Hello and welcome to New York. I'm here in my hotel room looking out at the wonderful cityscape of New York City. That's the kind of life we lead as a jet-setting children entertainer. Now I've got some good news for you because next year at Tricks and Mistakes I am returning for a brand new lecture. It's going to be fantastic. It's all new material, and I hope to see you there. So book early, don't forget to get your tickets, and see you in 2016 at Tricks in the Sticks.
Let's get through it. We almost did it.